Saudi Arabia's Attorney General says at least $100 billion has been misused through systemic corruption and embezzlement in recent decades.
And according to Sheikh Saud Al Mujab, 201 people are being held for questioning as parts of a sweeping anti-corruption drive that began on Saturday night. Now, while he did not name names, he called evidence of wrongdoing as being very strong. Now, among those reportedly detained are billionaire investor Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, Prince Miteb bin Abdullah, a son of the late king, who was also removed from his post as National Guard chief on Saturday, and his brother Prince Turki bin Abdullah, a former governor of Riyadh province.
All right, we have a public affairs commentator, Dr. Kach Ononuju, who is joining us via phone. Good morning and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, there are reports that the Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, that this anti-corruption war really has nothing to do with corruption. He just wants to, stamp his authority and let them know that there's a new sheriff around.
That's exactly how it's been interpreted around the world. It is a society that the way Prince Salman was brought about, don't forget, he is not actually historically who should be there. And it's as a way to quieten those who are not happy that the lineage protocols have been broken by his imposition, that he now needs to stamp his authority. But I do believe he is doing this with also the connivance of his U.S. partners, who think that the way for him to have a strong grip on society is also to stamp his authority. And he thinks the arrest of these princes and other people is the best way to go. Don't forget, too, that the crimes for which they have been accused did not occur under Prince Salman's period. These investigations have been ongoing, some of it for over 2 years now.
All right. Now, with this development now, it seems there's a lot of division in the kingdom. What implication will it have going forward? Because we seem to hear some kind of stories from Saudi Arabia that we originally wouldn't have heard in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the divisions are actually what he intended to do. He wanted to divide the poor from the rich, the middle class from the rich, the young from the rich. So if he could be seen to be this hard on the rich, maybe you could get some populist followership from the middle class and the poor people, and that way he'll be able to stamp his authority. I think that seemed to be working, but they are watching him. It's one thing to arrest the prince. It's another thing to successfully convict him. If also through this arrest, they could keep them quiet and then allow him to succeed in his transition, that's good. But I believe what society needs is actually a transition from his archaic ways into modernity. And if he's going to do that, the young people will follow him, the rest of the world will follow him. So it's a two-pronged strategy. He has the world watching him, he has Saudi's young society watching him. If he can get this and put reforms like you have seen recently, he has followed suit what Dubai did by allowing women to have access to the driving wheels of a car.
Mm-hmm.
If he could do more of these reforms, he will have international recognition and also international following for what he's doing. I'm also believing that there is a need for him to crack down on the hardline clerics who have been driving the very, very violent preachings that has given Saudi's approach to Islam the international bad image that it does have. Society needs to be a more plural society, a more accommodating society, and a far more tolerant society.
And this international following or support could be at the expense of domestic crisis if this goes on. People are saying, look, this 32-year-old Crown Prince Salman. Can he really sustain some of these reforms he's putting in place, like allowing women to drive? Women will be going to the stadium to watch matches and all of that. And of course, he's fighting countries like Iran and all of that. Can he really sustain some of these moves?
That is the trick. As you just saying, can he sustain? He needs the followership of the women and the young population for him to be able to turn on against the elderly, who seem to be the target of what he's doing. Okay? You need to hold the elders down for the young, but you also need to look at the population. You need to look at the demographics. I believe he has the support of the international community in terms of his attempt to actually bring the society into the modern era, allowing women to drive. That is good. But then we also need quite a lot more things. So it's not going to be easy. And he has started it now. But it is the game of trying to allow him, as a very unnatural lineage person, to be seen to mature onto that throne that he is taking on some of these princes. Some of them are very vocal. Some are not vocal. And he's also touched some with very strong international connections, like touching Prince Al-Walid bin Talal bin Saud. He is a very, very well-known man with his kingdom holdings. That he touches a lot of his friends internationally. And he rubs the American investment community the wrong way. So he has to tamper his way. Of course, these are arrests. From the arrest, you will then have investigations. From the investigations, you will then see that he has started releasing some, because it's not all that he arrested that were actually kept back. A lot of who were arrested were actually released. So I think this might be the game to play. If you work with him, you might have the easy way off, like you've seen that in Nigeria. So arresting princes does not bring an end to itself. No, it's probably the beginning of a period of negotiation of those who work with him and those who probably support him as he tries to stamp his reforms on a very archaic society.
Well, Saudi Arabia doesn't really stand alone. It has links, and even these people that he's clamping down on, one way or the other, all have links with other countries, especially the Arab countries, who are also watching the developments in Saudi Arabia. How would this impact on relations with neighboring Arab countries?
The relations have already been played. You can see the issue with Qatar. He didn't go alone. He has quite a lot of regional support in his fight with Qatar. Don't forget, it's also a Sunni kingdom, so he also has his own support against Iran, which happens to be Shia. So he's not alone, no. And he's playing the card quite well right now at the beginning. How it will end, I do not know. But I'm also very happy to notice that Qatar has stood strong, and in the past 72 hours, there are loosening of the restrictions on Qatar. Saudi Arabia and its partners say that they will allow some class of air travel to pass through Qatar and pass through their airspace. For me, that's a good thing. That shows that he's willing to loosen on some of his hard stands at the beginning. So I could see all this as parts of negotiations. You know, you get hard at the beginning, and as negotiations start, you start looking at who can play with you, and you start letting things loose. But whether you like it or not, Prince Salman Mohammed is in charge. And we are watching the game and how it plays out. There is nothing new about this, and he's not playing with a small football field. It's a very strong kingdom with strong international connections in both the West and also in Arabia. So whatever he does will include the consideration of partners in the Gulf and partners across the world. He is not alone.
All right, Catch Ononuju, Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Like they say, change is always a constant, and that change may have come for Saudi Arabia under Crown Prince bin Salman. Whether that change will be for good is another question. Time will, of course, tell.
Change is change.